Hi, welcome back to Barn Full of Trains. Um, I'm going to start this one out with uh, kind of shout outs or more thank you than anything. And don't look at the stuff behind me because I've been going through boxes and boxes of stuff, looking up tools, and I'm going to have to build some shelves to display my trains on yet. Um, so I wasn't expecting to have to do all this quick. I figured I'd put out a video and I might get one or two subscribers or something like that in a month's time and put something else out and maybe pick up a few more from there. But I had 6 subscribers and no videos, and so I decided to go ahead and do my first one, and I put it out. And one of those 6 subscribers was a guy named Wilmer from Indian Head Valley Railroad, and he watched it, and he was having a live show that night, and I was going to miss it because I had a previous engagement that I told my father I'd take him to, and so, anyways, the next morning I came up and I was scrolling through the thing there, and it showed 2 or 3 new subscribers, and it had his show there. And so I clicked on it and I watched the show, and I never thought about getting as good a shout out as what he gave me. So I went to my channel and looked, and I had jumped from 6 subscribers to 18. And by the next day, I was up to 23. And then the next night, well, that same night, Sparky 107 done a show about doing shout outs and stuff, and he mentioned my name, but he also was telling everybody, look, if you see a name you don't recognize, click on it and subscribe to them. So I got 4 or 5 more there that night. And then Wilmer came back and he done a not so bad show. And he done another big shout out. And I jumped all the way to 43. And then BNSF 6951 was doing a live show, and he done a shout out for me, and told him he wanted to get me to 50 because I was at 43. And by the next couple days, I had a total of 67 subscribers. So I want to thank these 3 guys because one is, I don't know them. I've seen some of their shows and stuff. It was under a different YouTube name. And before I decided to do this and changed it to Barn Full of Trains. And, but I've never met them or anything else. So, there's a great little world, the train world we're in here, that people will help you out and get you up there and get you going. So I want to thank those 3 guys, and then I want to thank all the subscribers that did subscribe. And I've been watching your all's channels. The ones that had videos, there was a few of them that didn't have no videos. But I've been subscribing back to you as I watch the videos and stuff. And then there's probably about 8 or 9 people. If I haven't subscribed to you, it's because apparently you have your settings marked private, and I didn't get any kind of notification through my email or on YouTube, either one. It just showed up that I had my subscriber count had went up. So, anyways, oh yeah, there's one other person too. try to help him out. If most of you all are probably already subscribed to him, but if I got somebody that's not, there's a guy named James Tedesco. Hopefully, I said that right. And he's trying to get his up to 125, and he'll have a contest. Contest is real easy to enter. I won't tell you how to do it. You can go to his channel and watch the show and see what he's going to give away. As of this morning, he was at 117, so he just needs a few more. So help him out if you can. So what was going on is I was sitting here taking a train apart, and I thought, well, I ought to be recording this, and so I decided to go ahead and record it, and so y'all have a good laugh. I was ready to start putting the train back together and was going to pause it for a minute, and I looked up, and apparently when I hit the button, it didn't start recording. So, so this is the second time that I've had to do it. I'm not used to recording, and so we'll try it again. It's okay. I do have another train identical to it. The motor is burned up in it. I had bought it for just to have extra parts, and so I'll take it apart. I've already got my parts already cleaned. I'll show you what I cleaned and how it comes apart, and then we'll start putting mine back together. If the video is too long, I'll split this up into part 1 and part 2. We'll just see what goes on from there. So this particular train was my very first train. I got it back in 1968. I was 7 years old for Christmas, and it was based on a TV show called The Scalp Lock, and the TV movie, the movie was actually named Scalp Lock. It was a 2-hour made for TV, and it premiered in like April of 1966. And then they decided to go on with a series, and they changed the name of it to the Iron Horse. And it ran from 1966 to 1968. And this is the box cover of it. And it was about a guy that was a gambler. He was a high stakes gambler, and he actually won the railroad in a the guy owed him $500,000 for gambling, and so he got the railroad that way because the guy didn't have the money to pay him. So, anyways, it was a fictional name, of course, and the name of the railroad was the Buffalo Pass the Buffalo Pass Scalp Lock and Defiance Railroad, and it came with one passenger car, and then it came with a half mail car and passenger. And as you can see in the windows, it looks like it's got people in it. And the first run of them had a green roof on them. And they actually had metal railings right here. Now, this one is missing one metal rail coming up that has the brake wheel on it. And I'm going to restore it. It had brake wheels on both sides. And then it came with, those are the 1880 cars. And then it come with a 1860s load car, and the load came out. And I got a couple of guys that glues in. Here, there's some holes right there, and they're got their guns out shooting at people. And so I'm going to restore it. It actually come with metal trucks. All this is metal. The wheels was plastic, but the axle was metal. But all this was metal. And so I'm going to change these to Katie number 9 couplers. Not on this particular one, but it's got a pin right there, and you file it out, pop it off, and then Katie's thing clips around it and puts it in there. So I'm going to keep these, but I am going to change the wheels and put metal wheels in it. They're ribbed on the back, and if you're new to this kind of stuff, the ribs would catch air and sling it up on the brakes to keep them from getting hot. So, but I'm going to restore the train back to the original because, you know, when I was a kid, I played with it. I do have one piece that's broke on it, and I've lost it over time, but it doesn't affect how it runs or anything like that. So, then, like I said, I bought this other one. I bought it for the passenger cars. And in the second run, they made a black roof on it. And then they changed, it still screws on. It don't have the pop into Lego wheels. I don't know if you noticed that in the first one or not. But I'm ordered trucks for this, complete trucks. And I'm just going to put body mount couplers on it. Because this is all plastic, but other than that, the car still looks the same. You can see the curtains in it. Had the same brake wheels, all that stuff. But the engine, it said that it didn't run, and I've kind of checked it out before, and I'm pretty sure the armature's burned up on it. But I can still use the different parts off of it because, like the bushings on it, instead of, a lot of them have like a tube that the bushings fit down in, and they're loose, but these don't. These have they're metal, and they're actually soldered in the ends of them, and so once they're gone, you're going to be hard to find them for it. You could possibly glue some on or something like that, but that one there's got good bushings in it, so I'll be keeping that in case it ever I need to change them, they wear out or something like that. But anyway, so let me readjust the camera, and I'll get set up here, and we'll take this other one apart, and I'll show you kind of how it goes together because there's several little pieces to it. But it's pretty simple. It's not too awful bad. The only thing I suggest is if you have one of these and you've never done this before, then it would be a good idea to get your camera out, cell phone, something, take lots of pictures, and then it makes it easy to look back and see where everything went. So give me just a second, and I'll reset this camera. Okay. I'm going to set this one to the side. Well, as you can see, I've already went through it, and it was dirty. But not too bad because when I put it up the last time, you know, before I had cleaned it up, but I had run it a little bit, and but I've already got it going, and it runs good and smooth, forwards or backwards. It sounds good. I don't know if you could hear it or not. This microphone is set up for vocals, and it cuts out a lot of background noise. That's why I'm using it, because my air conditioner, when it kicks on, you can hear it like crazy in the uh, on just the microphone on the camera. So, but we'll set this one over here to the side. I've already worked on trying to clean this one up. Um, so this is just basically to show you what you have to do to get it apart. And it had already been into, and I could tell that by two things. Um, yeah, and you can see it's the same train. But there's three screws. There's one missing right there, and then this one. So that tells me somebody's been into it. And then the truck was upside down. And so that told me somebody'd been into it and put the truck back on upside down. So somebody's tried to work on it before. So we'll go ahead and take the tender loose. And to get the wheels off, like I said, there actually is three screws right here. Um, and one of them was missing. But the fourth one right there, um, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it actually just slips over it. That actually holds the motor in place. So once you get those three screws out right there, then this piece just pops up. No surprises. It only goes on one way, the flat part down. And then the wheels just pick up and they just slide out of the canisters. When they slid out, what that was that fell is the two smaller barrels. They fit right in here, and then the wheels fit in and get power from it. There's two of them, one for each side for the one with the gear on it, and then there's two longer ones, one in the front, and one in the back. And because I was working on getting the motor, I didn't really clean these up real good. but they wasn't too awful dirty. So somebody's tried to clean them, and mine was a little more dirty. And I tried to clean it with alcohol first, and then I went downstairs and uh, I got my other stuff. And as long as you're not using, it's turned out nice and clean. It come out clean with pretty much one swipe. But as long as you're not using it around plastic on brass parts, uh, I use Zippo lighter fluid, and it'll clean that stuff right up. But do not use it on the motors because this will melt plastic, and it'll melt the plastic coating around the windings on your motor, and you can short it out. And it really don't mess with your fingers much. But if you get it on your legs or your arms or something like that, it can burn you. So that's just something that I do. If you do it, you need to. I'm not actually recommending it for you. I'm just telling you how I do it. But on your motor and stuff, I always use alcohol. So that's the only thing that's going to fall out when you take it apart. Now, get the rest of the body off on one of these. Like I said, they are a Tyco, but it says Mantua on it, so it's considered a 460 Rogers and 1890s Rogers. But there's two clips right there. And this thing had holes in it. It's broke off on this one, and it clipped right onto it. So what you do is you take the front truck off, then raise it up, and then slip it backwards, and it would come off of that if you've got one of these. Now, when you take this screw off, there is a spring. Looks like that one. And the narrow part goes up. The big flat part of it sits on the wheel. And when you take this screw out, sometimes it looks like it's part of the screw, but there's a sleeve on it to stop it from going too far up in there. And some of them are stuck on it, and the other ones are loose. And if it's gone, then that means somebody's been into it. And this one was gone. So that's another reason that I know that somebody been into it. I don't know where. I have to find mine here in a minute. I was going to show you the. Oh, here it is. I was going to say I thought it was right here, but you can see it looks like it's part of it, but it slips right off of there. The brass collar, and it just stops the boat from going too far up in there. And when you feel it tighten up, you know to stop. Once you get that off, like I said, that would pick up and go back. You do have a light attached right there. And so be careful, don't pull it off. But if you want to get rid of it, you can just heat it up with a soldering gun and it'll come right off. Now, once you take that off, these cylinders They just raise up and pop off. They've got two kind of long tabs sticking out, and there's holes right there into them, right in them holes. So that lets you know that if you do fall off, you don't have to worry about knowing which way they turn because it goes just like that. So then the next thing is get you some Dawn, mix it with a little water, and that's the best thing to get any old grease and stuff off. You might get you a pair of real fine tweezers like that. They can go down in between them in case there's hair or carpet fibers. Um, I don't know if you can see them on the end of it, but it's real fine stuff that was in there. But I didn't mess with cleaning it on up because it wasn't running. Um, and then back behind here, there's a bearing, and then right behind the worm gear there's another bearing. Well, you got them off. You want to put just a drop in the front, drop in the back. Don't overdo it, and that makes them run really well. And that's one of the reasons a lot of these trains right here, um, when you get them, they're like squealing, and that's because people would put grease in here and there, but they didn't oil them two bearings in there. So now these here, you want to take your brushes off and clean them. Put your thumb on it right there and hold it. Then take that little spring right there, just pull it forward and up and over it. Reason why you want to keep your thumb there is because as soon as you do, it just slides right out. And there's your brush right there. And when you get ready, hold it straight like that. It goes right back up in that hole. Put your finger on it. And that little spring got a little L thing right there. So if it pops up, the L thing just goes over that lip. And then when you pull it around, it hits on this metal piece right here. That stops it from going any further. And just pull your spring back over, put it back into place, and let it go. And that'll hold it. And just while you got it off, clean it real good, soak it in alcohol, get you a paper towel and just pour some alcohol onto it and rub that thing all in there. And then, of course, you know, uh, clean your armature right there while you got it off. And because you can spin it. And I actually didn't try this while I had it apart. Tried it after I put it back together. But I said it don't work. There it goes. It may have just been stuck. Wasn't making good contact. It's gonna be one that somebody's gonna have to get her rolling. That's what's wrong with it. It went into reverse, okay. And it went right back into reverse. But when I go back to forward, it don't want to do it. Well, I'll leave that in the park. Check it out. Maybe one of the brushes just ain't making real good contact with it. And having to get it to start, but I'll work on that one. See what I can figure out with it. Okay, so that brings us to this point right here, which is my original train. And we'll start putting it back together. I already put a little oil on them two bearings right there. Not trying to promote any particular one, but this is what works for me, and that's LaBelle. I like their stuff real well, and this is their grease, and it's got PTFE in it, which makes it real slick. It doesn't take very much to do it. I just put one bead down through there. You don't have to mix it in. When we put the other gear in and it starts running, they'll mix themselves together. There, this one is mine. So, like I said, got it's got the two tabs in it, and they just fit right in. I say they fit right in. There they go. Once you get them lined up, it fits in and it fits flat. You want to go ahead and put the back in first. Hook it on that clip right there. And that'll put the boiler down on top where it's supposed to go. And just hold it like that. Get your truck out. In case somebody's been into yours. If you can't get the axles out when you're looking at it, you've got it upside down. So you want to make sure that the flat part goes this way and you're looking at where you could pop the truck out. You get your screw, put it up through there. Make sure you don't forget your brass flange right there to stop it with. Get your spring. Big part goes on the truck. Little part goes up toward the tender. Slide it up through the hole and get her started. Get your screwdriver and screw it down tight. It is going in the metal, so you don't have to worry about stripping it, but you don't have to overbearing it. Just pull it up nice and snug, and the truck can freely move back and forth. Okay, ready to put the wheel sets back in. The two long brass pieces, doesn't matter which one goes where. There's a hole bottom of it, and there's a tab sticking up. That pops on that tab and keeps it from sliding back and forth. Then you got your two smaller ones, and they got a hole in them with a tab. Don't you just love it when you lay something down where you know where it's at and it disappears? That's it. I've already got it cleaned up. Ah, like I said, take pictures. That way you know when you're putting this back together whether it's upside down or not. And one way you know is these do have a traction tire on it. And just like this one, goes on the left side of the train. This is the left. Have to hold these up and get them started in. So I'm going to move this mic where I can see better. Where that goes all the way in, back and forth just a tad, enough to catch the groove. And then the flat spot goes down because it does have a lip on it right there. And the big hole goes over the mount for the motor. Got 3 screws that hold it in. Like I said, the frame is completely metal on these, so you don't have to. I'll just snug them up good, but you don't have to worry about stripping them like you do plastic. And while I had the wheels off, I went around them with alcohol too and cleaned them up so they make a little better contact. And you'll need to clean the wheels on the tender on the one side because it does, from the left side of the train, it does get its power from the tender. And so, like I said, that motor's already got grease on it. I go ahead and put a little bit more right here. Don't put a whole lot. Now, that was the only bad thing about these. That right there would catch your carpet because it stayed open all the time. So, that screw I told you holds the engine in. You can hook the wire to it if you want to. But the frame's got a clip on it there, so I just do it like that. And see if we got any luck. Oh, hell shoot. I didn't know that slipped out on me. take it back loose and fix that. But I'll do that here in a minute. I guess when my sleeve slipped out. And I'll take a look here. But I may not have it lined up in the groove right. I just didn't have it lined up in the groove all the way. And you can see it's running till I get that thing stuck on it. I gotta take that back out so I can get it. Anyways, I just didn't have that lined up, and all I done was stuck the screwdriver in, just spun the armature around just enough, and it clicked right in, and I heard it click in. So, anyways, I'll take this thing back apart and hook the. We'll get the tender hooked back to it, but I'm going to put it on pause for just a minute because there's no reason for you to have to watch that. Okay, I'm back. All I did was just took those screws back out and popped that cover off and put that arm back in there. I didn't see when I was putting it back together that I'd missed it. But that's all, part of doing trains and stuff. So I went ahead and hooked it up. And it's running good. And it's actually starting to turn a little faster. I don't know if you all can hear it or not. And it's got a really good slow speed on it right there. Just barely going. And then go into reverse with it. Oh yeah, and the headlight still works after all these years. I've never replaced it, but I ordered a little chip headlight for it, yellow, along with some other lights, because I've decided if this thing pulls good and the stall power is not too much, and I can get a decoder for it, I'm going to turn this into a DCC with sound, and I'll change that headlight. It'll be still yellow, but probably be a little bit brighter than what the one in it originally is. But that's pretty good for. I haven't run it. I had pulled it out and had it sitting here, but I hadn't done nothing to it. I tried. I put it on the track and it jumped a little bit, and I hooked the wires directly to it, and it was. You could tell it was just dirty. So anyway, it sounds a whole lot better now. The only thing left to do is put the tender back on it, and that's just the one screw. I think you can figure it out. I got new wire So as I go, I'm going to restore this and put new wire on it, and then put the cab back on it. It's got a thing to cover the engine with right there that you can, looks like controls of a steam engine, and then that goes back on it. And then and I'll do that too, show you how to change. I'm gonna put a coupler on the front of that one. A trip pin would mess up, but I've got some scale cars um, that are kit cars by Scale Train, and I really don't like their couplers anyways, and I'm changing them to Katie's, but they don't have a trip pin on it, so I may use one of them just to come out here for looks on it. And but as I go, I'll film all this stuff for you, and hopefully you'll like what I do, and hopefully I'll be helping somebody with it. I don't really want to do all this for show, but anyway, there it goes. It's finally adjusted the light out. If you have any questions, like I said before, uh, email me at barnfulloftrains at gmail.com. Would be better there than any kind of comments, because liable to miss comments or something like that. And because it could be a week or two down the road before somebody asks something. But if there's anything I can do for you till the next one, I'm waiting on some stuff, and I am going to do one video on a ON30 passenger car for a guy. He asked me to make him one, so I'm going to. And but I appreciate everybody, and if there's anything I can do for you all, just let me know. Thanks. See you.